GitHub. pose, something we only see for a brief moment during the jump scare. As for our enchanted leftovers, each time Ron takes a bite it diminishes a bit, but it's not actually going anywhere. The food on our plate is just clipping down through the dish and into the table, eventually fading back into its original position, effectively creating infinite lasagna, or whatever this is. They never made that clear. The jump scare itself isn't all that exciting, since Mr. Redface just kind of appears and the bottle breaks shortly after, but this is what it looks like from another angle. At this point in the game, there are two versions of Ron the doll loaded in at the same time, one sitting at the table and the other in your parents' room. I also force spawned the version of the doll that appears next to the TV, and when interacting with it, the dialogue plays out of order. This ended up soft locking my game for some reason, and I had to restart this level in order to continue. By this point, our doll informs us that our dad has been taken by Mr. Redface, and we'll have to rescue him by using a portal in the closet. As soon as we turn the radio on and open the doors, the forced portal will appear behind the closed doors. By moving the portal into the void space out of bounds, we can get a better look at it, and its digitized appearance looks like something out of Donkey Kong Country or similar SNES titles. With the closet doors deleted, we can watch as the demonic woman appears when we activate the radio a second time, and she's not exactly easy to look at with the lights on. I'm not sure who or what this character is supposed to be, but she looks like something out of a horror movie, and I'm not here for it. Finally, we'll properly spawn the portal that will eventually lead to our father's rescue, but I wanted to mess with things a bit before going through it. So after moving this large white panel across the room, I realized that this is a single-face object with collision on only one side. We can't interact with it in any way, and it definitely doesn't warp us anywhere. And that's because during gameplay we're interacting with the closet and not the portal itself. By infinite lasagna, or whatever this is. They never made that clear. The jump scare itself isn't all that exciting, since Mr. Redface just kind of appears and the bottle breaks shortly after, but this is what it looks like from another angle. At this point in the game, there are two versions of Ron the doll loaded in at the same time, one sitting at the table and the other in your parents' room. I also force spawned the version of the doll that appears next to the TV, and when interacting with it, the dialogue plays out of order. This ended up soft locking my game for some reason, and I had to restart this level in order to continue. By this point, our doll informs us that our dad has been taken by Mr. Redface, and we'll have to rescue him by using a portal in the closet. As soon as we turn the radio on and open the doors, the forced portal will appear behind the closed doors. By moving the portal into the void space out of bounds, we can get a better look at it, and its digitized appearance looks like something out of Donkey Kong Country or similar SNES titles. With the closet doors deleted, we can watch as the demonic woman appears when we activate the radio a second time, and she's not exactly easy to look at with the lights on. I'm not sure who or what this character is supposed to be, but she looks like something out of a horror movie, and I'm not here for it. Finally, we'll properly spawn the portal that will eventually lead to our father's rescue, but I wanted to mess with things a bit before going through it. So after moving this large white panel across the room, I realized that this is a single-face object with collision on only one side. We can't interact with it in any way, and it definitely doesn't warp us anywhere. And that's because during gameplay we're interacting with the closet and not the portal itself. By walking to the empty closet, we can still activate it and warp into the following level. Meaning Ron was right, the closets do function as portals. Everything else is just for show. Jumping back into recap mode, the portal leads you to the strange forest where the clerk, a purple cat named Cat, helps locate Ron's father. A portal is then opened here, and a group of kids leap out to scare you as you approach. As we leave, we'll be transported to a textureless room, where our father is laying on a bed, trembling in fear. You grab a spell from the table, get jump scared by a giant hand, and awaken in your parents' closet only to get jump scared again when returning to your bedroom. With your mother now missing, you head back through the portal and use the spell in this similar default textured room to hopefully destroy Mr. Redface. Once again, we'll leave the recap there for now and jump back in time. So after heading through the portal and arriving at this new location, we can take a look from an aerial view, only to find that this entire forest is a small box and octagon and nothing more. Within the map, there are a few things worth mentioning. The first being the kids who seemingly appear from thin air to jump scare you. Each of the locations they eventually end up in are currently empty, but we can force them to spawn early, which kinda messes things up. The kid who jumps into our face is currently standing in the fire, asserting dominance in the most hardcore way possible. The girl wearing the polka-dotted shirt is close to our normal location, except she's in her default pose, clipping to the floor. The third child is also present, they're just stuck in the trunk of the car, since it hasn't opened yet. While messing around with things, I spawned the exit portal much earlier than I was supposed to. But they didn't just let me get away with a sequence break. When I interacted with the portal, I was instantly warped back to Cat on the other side of the map, and their dialogue started as though we interacted with them directly. I finished the dialogue and went back to the portal, getting jump scared by the children as expected. Watching this sequence from another angle, their weird placements earlier make a bit more sense, since this animation starts in those spots. Heading through the portal for real this time, we'll end up in this weird default textured room where Ron's dad is laying on the world's largest bed. This room is the entirety of what makes up this level, and there's nothing else beyond the walls of this tiny space. Upon closer inspection, your dad doesn't have any pupils in this scene, which is somehow even creepier. While we're here, we can hack this giant hand into the game early for a much better look at it. This huge limb is usually only seen for a very brief second, but we can now see it in all its glory. It has a lengthy arm behind it that seems to come through the portal, but moving out of bounds reveals that the arm just comes to an end out of sight. When we turn around, the wrist stretches weirdly, and the hand itself covers the player camera. We're now warped back home as the next scene loads in. As you awaken in the no longer interdimensional closet, your mother gives you a a proper scolding, and her neck twists sideways in this freaky pose. At this point, we're supposed to go back to our room, but I instead move the camera there to find the doll floating in place. The jump scare can't trigger by moving the camera up close, so I was able to hack Mr. Redface into the scene before entering the room. You would have never known he was standing in front of the closet, asserting dominance in the ethereal plane. But now you know. Glorious! Walking into the room, I was able to trigger the jump scare as we typically would, and we can watch as Mr. Redface snaps into his regular pose where he's holding our doll. He then reappears to attack Ron, and what's funny is that his head stretches forward as he holds this weird Superman pose before unloading. When you awaken post-jump scare, Ron's mother is kneeling beside the bed as she attempts to console you. Kneeling is a bit of an overstatement here, since moving the camera reveals that she's still standing up, and her legs are clipping through the bottom of the level. Once again, you'll never see this from a different perspective during gameplay, so there's no reason not to do it this way, despite how funny it looks here. After heading back to our bedroom, we'll find our doll sitting next to the closet, and after interacting with them, our character will appear A-posing in front of them. Since the retro filter is disabled, we can see how badly our poor doll has been damaged, and he's definitely been in better condition. Since your mother has also gone missing, you'll now go back through the portal with the intention of destroying Mr. Redface using the spell we picked up earlier. While we're entering the same map as before, it's a separate scene that contains a different batch of assets entirely. For one, on the far side of the level, we can have a look at this room that we throw the spell into. The black silhouette seen inside is in fact Ron's mother, and up close we can see them fully illuminated in this hunched over position. Just outside the door, we can once again find Mr. Redface T-posing in the multiverse, and speaking of which, we can also watch from another perspective as he makes his way to the door. He begins this animation out of the player's sight, walking over to the door where he'll vanish just outside. When the spell activates, a bright green light appears in the room as Ron's mother disappears, and the area goes dark afterwards. At this point, if we try to bring Redface back, he'll remain completely frozen next to the door. Back into our recap once more, you'll head back home to find Ron's parents arguing at the front door. Your mother leaves, which results in your dad getting angry and becoming Redface. Heading back to the bedroom, you'll watch as your dad, now revealed as Mr. Redface, kills you and leaves you in the closet. Opening said closet reveals your body, and a scene plays out where your dad is tormented by your spirit. Mother leaves. leaves, which results in your dad getting angry and becoming Redface. Heading back to the bedroom, you'll watch as your dad, now revealed as Mr. Redface, kills you and leaves you in the closet. Opening said closet reveals your body, and a scene plays out. Kills you, and back to the bedroom, you'll watch as your dad, now revealed as Mr. Redface, kills you and leaves you in the closet. Opening said closet reveals your body, and a scene plays out where your dad is tormented by your spirit. Your mom then goes to the police station, and the spell you threw into the room was really a card revealing your dad's hiding place. Your father gets arrested, and during Ron's funeral, the children from before invite him to stay with them, bringing bad parenting to an end. So rewinding time, the first thing we'll encounter is Ron's parents engaging in a heated debate. Things turn a bit too aggressive here, but when viewing this from another angle, I made a crazy realization. When Ron's dad swings his hand, we'll find that his mother is so hardcore, she doesn't even flinch or react. And if that wasn't enough, she also clips her arms through her own torso and warps through the door, refusing to elaborate before she eventually unloads. When our dad is drinking at the table, we can see from this angle that the bottle impales his face every time he takes a drink. His face will turn red, and he starts walking down the hallway, glitching around as he makes his way to Ron's bedroom. When he gets close to the door, it will swing open, as both Ron and his dad appear standing atop of the bed, waiting for the player to trigger the cutscene. This sequence is a bit too grim in my opinion, so I chose to take matters into my own hands and fix it myself. By removing Ron from the situation entirely, his dad just kind of moves around weirdly, still sitting on the bed. It kind of looks like he's singing opera, which is definitely better than the original scene, but even so, it's still odd to watch. He transforms into Mr. Redface and leaves the bed, vanishing before approaching the closet. At this point, we're supposed to find our own body when opening the closet doors, but looking inside early shows us that his body isn't loaded in yet. Only after the player opens the door will it appear, and it's no easier to look at with the retro filter turned off. This isn't the only asset that appeared when we opened the closet though, since the entirety of the motel bedroom our dad is hiding in appeared at the same time. I expected this area to be contained in its own scene, like the previous version, but it's only a short sequence without player input, so there was no reason to load in a whole new level. During this cutscene, Ron does something off screen that results in his father screaming, but if we watch from another angle, nothing happens, and he remains completely still. The following cutscene is viewed from the perspective of Ron's mother, but there's something you may have missed here. Ron is lying in the bed on the opposite side of the room, though he's partially transparent, which I believe is because he's a ghost. I completely missed this during my playthrough. It's a pretty cool detail that's super easy to overlook. Ron's mother then opens a closet in the bedroom to find his body, but as you can see, he's clearly not even there. It looks a bit silly, since she's basically sobbing in front of an empty closet, and without context, this would be pretty hard to explain. But don't worry, it gets weirder. Similar to the motel, the police interview also takes place within this same scene. A second copy of Ron's mother occupies this area, alongside, two Slendermen? I'm sure these characters are just meant to be ambiguous, but a faceless character wearing a black uniform is Slenderman enough for me, as Ron's funeral begins. We are loaded into a new scene full of more Slendermen, but strangely enough, we are still in the house. Most of the map has been unloaded to the point it's only a long hallway with a few disconnected walls here and there. That's not all though. The forest we warped to previously is also loaded in, just outside of the funeral procession. The kid in the closet is always loaded in too. The camera just doesn't pan this way until the end of the scene. With the story wrapped up, we can have a look at the fan arts room. And this is basically a model viewer where the various characters are on display. There is some questionable art here, but the giant heads at the ends of this hallway are what really interests me. From another angle, these aren't simply giant heads, but straight up Attack on Titan monstrosities. The models in this game are pretty freaky, but this is taking it a step too far. But it's still glorious. And with that, that's everything I found off camera and out of bounds and bad parenting. If you enjoyed today's look behind the scenes, make sure you subscribe so you won't miss my next game-breaking video. Cheers!
When I was a boy, my mother often said to me, "Get married, son, and see how happy you will be." I have looked all over, but no girlie can I find who seems to be just like the little girl I have in mind. I will have to look around until the right one I have found.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. I love horror games. Horror games for me is all about the thrill of facing the unknown, combined with the adrenaline rush of trying to survive against the worst of odds. A lot of the times I only ever really feel fulfilled playing a game when it's generally in the horror genre. Simply because I love games that can test your mettle. I love horror games where I gotta look for my wife in some nightmarish wasteland. I love horror games where I gotta make decisions that could or could not lead to my own downfall. And most of all, I love horror games where I'm a little bitch that can't fight back, so I gotta scurry around like a little rat, hiding in lockers or barrels until I can manage to escape. This can be games like the first half of Resident Evil 7, or Amnesia, or a game that gave me an irrational fear of doors along with the dark called Outlast. If you don't know anything about Outlast, this video might not make any sense, but I'll try to get it past you lickety-split so you can follow. So basically the consensus of the story is that you're an investigative reporter by the name of Miles Upshur. You're on the prowl for a new story, and you receive a mysterious email from a whistleblower by the name of Wayland Park, exposing a place called Mount Massive Asylum for their heinous experiments on the patients housed within said asylum. So you, Miles Upshur, take it upon yourself to pull up to their doorstep to find that the asylum has been shaked and very well baked. Now, because you willfully trapped yourself inside the asylum to investigate the horrors, you gotta run, jump, and hide from the deranged inmates that have seized control over the place, and somehow figure out a way to get the fuck out of the joint. For the last decade, I return to this game every year for an annual replay, and it gets better every time. It's in the doc.
Go and get help. Lucius, quick! I must have pulled my back out.
Lucius, one of the most unique and unintentionally funny games you will ever play. The premise is simple. We're tasked by the devil with murdering the inhabitants of Dante's Manor in increasingly bizarre ways. A trilogy of hilarious highs and staggering lows, with each game having its own specific strengths alongside many, many glaring flaws that only get worse as the games go on. Chances are you've probably watched your favorite YouTuber playing this back in the day.
I will make you proud, Papa.
Yet despite the massive hype and huge initial audience it drew in, it's a game that's never managed to find its footing. And as the quality dropped, so too did the fandom, with most people not even realizing that a third game exists.
Who the hell are you?
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the start. As the game starts, we find a celebration unfolding deep in the lavish Wagner estate, a sight we witness not through the party itself, but the eyes of a person approaching in mysterious fashion from the garden outside.
Nobody can
The party in question is for Lucius's 6th birthday.
Happy birthday, son.
And what a strapping young man he is, having invested his entire inheritance into a lifetime supply of Botox because his face never displays an ounce of emotion.
Man, they grow up fast.
Not only that, but he's totally mute, something the game alludes to being a personal choice rather than a medical or mental condition. Frankly, it's effective work. This dead-eyed little shit really does give off demon spawn vibes. I'm amazed no one was suspicious during his formative years. This birthday is an important one though, because the devil is finally ready to bestow his gifts upon us, and after being told we're gonna spend our birthday alone with the maid cleaning up.
Lucius can help you with the dishes.
Thanks, Mum. Very kind. We are tasked with our first evil doing, taking Mary out. It's likely no coincidence that our first target is called Mary, what with Mary being the biblical mother of Jesus.
What is it, my child?
Even the name of the mansion, Dante, is taken from the Divine Comedy, a poem about the afterlife and the different layers of hell.
I will not.
Both of which serve to coat this game's star in layers of delicious irony.
It's almost 10 o'clock. Get ready for bed.
Once left alone, we finally gain control, and right off the rip, you can tell that this family is rich. Not because of the mansion and the maids or the fact that they dressed their 6-year-old son in a waistcoat for his birthday, but because the maid is comfortable leaving the walk-in fridge open while she sweeps endlessly. And I mean, dosh aside, it's a food hygiene risk at best. A sin that can only be atoned for by freezing to death. And that's not the devil speaking, that's my own gosh darn opinion.
Please stop tracking dirt over my nice clean floors.
Grabbing hold of a nearby padlock with our Lego hands, we lock her inside, and to speed things up, we turn the temp all the way down as we stroll away in this high-octane cutscene.
Hello?
These over-the-top action shots play almost every time someone dies. They're actually very Hitman-esque in their presentation, which is interesting because, as you'll discover, Lucius has a fair amount in common with the early Hitman games, specifically in that each level, at its core, is about killing a primary target without getting caught. Of course, that's not how I usually end up playing Hitman, but that ain't through a lack of trying. In Lucius though, you have no choice. Whether Hitman games employ a sandbox approach to these kills, allowing for replayability, no, stop, no one's looking at you, Absolution. Lucius only dips his little toe, offering a very linear path and no room for experimentation. But I'll get into more details about that later on. For now, it's Betty Buys time. So we tuck ourselves in, but in the middle of the night, our true father reveals himself.
Lucius, there you are, and here I am. Face to face.
In a hellish version of our bedroom, we find him sitting, styled like Tom Ellis himself. He hath many names: Lucifer, Satan, Abaddon, or in our case, Father. And he has a simple request.
Each offering you bring me will make you big and mighty.
He needs the souls of the innocent, and we're gonna give them to him. But first, he has a little gift.
I have some things for the birthday boy. There, on the desk.
How exciting! A present from a being with unlimited power. What could it be? Flashlight. Man, the devil is a stingy asshole. He couldn't even be asked to insert the batteries. He's the worst father ever. Equipping the flashlight, a really neat touch is that the shadow cast by the devil reveals his horns. It's only a little thing, but I love that they're alluding to this pleasant appearance being a facade. A mask hiding his true horrific face. Speaking of, when he talks, they weren't able to sync the lips at all, so his mouth just warps open and closed.
And believe me, you wouldn't want that to happen.
Along with the flashlight, he offers a notebook, which is a valuable tool you'll be regularly utilizing throughout the game. It's used to track objectives, conversations, side missions, who people are, and how targets could be killed. Don't let the fact that they couldn't align the journal's text throw you off. This tool is super handy for the many moments you'll find yourself wandering around the mansion with no idea what you're supposed to be doing or who the target even is. Gifts aside, he has one last surprise for us, bestowing the power of telekinesis.
Don't worry, Lucius. Mary is now in a much better place.
allowing Lucius to move and manipulate items in the physical world, just not throw them, which is a mechanical woe I have to talk about. You can pick up multiple items around the mansion. In our bedroom, for example, we can pick up a beach ball, but you can't throw it. You can't throw anything you pick up. At best, you can drop bottles of vintage Dom Perignon and force the help to clean it up.
Oh my.
But it really should be a development sin to allow you to pick up items and not throw them, especially when you're playing as a devil's child. I know children that are only partly demonic and they love to throw shit. It's just out of character. The telekinesis ability is primarily used to solve puzzles with next to no practical uses. It's a massive shame because powers like these open so many fun sandbox options and we don't get to engage with any of them, relegating this power to several point-and-click solutions throughout the course of the game. Not only that, but it's literally not even used in this first mission at all. We're only taught how the power works after the day ends.
You can train your mind to move objects at your will.
And it's not until the next level that we actually get to use it to make a kill. Why not just hold off giving Lucius the power until its mechanics are useful, right? That's just confusing game design. Respectfully, and in ways I'll continue to demonstrate throughout this video, the whole power system in this game is awful, woefully underutilized and poorly thought out, offering little more than a tease of what could have been, rather than fun powers that complement or elevate the experience. But still, I shouldn't complain. A gift is a gift, and at least the devil's actually hanging out with us. Our own mum just gave us dishes to wash and went to bed, popped the little Valium. But under instructions from his father, we sneak downstairs and grab the padlock, ensuring Mary's death looks less suspicious before heading to bed for real. The following morning, our maidsicle is discovered and a key character is called in to investigate.
Detective McGuffin. What do we got here?
He gets the rundown from a local copper who basically hits him with the old, you know how old birds are, always dying and shit,
She was in her mid-50s.
Typical of women her age.
before cracking a cold one and kissing each other on the lips.
They're waiting for you in the kitchen.
I have no idea what the writer was going for here. This is a truly bizarre way to rationalize the death of a woman who didn't even look old.
Typical of women her age.
Investigating the crime scene, he speaks with the family and wraps this whole incident up as some bizarre accident,
We'll look into it, but it looks like a case of misadventure.
telling the family to move on and return to normal life. Just, you know, with a few more floors to sweep in the meantime.
Just relax and focus on getting life back to normal.
The following day, our next target is Jean, our father's cigarette-addicted campaign manager.
I could always count on you, Gene. Make yourself at home while I tidy up some papers.
Basically, whoever's highlighted in our diary when the day starts is who we need to kill, provided you can, as I said, read the thing. If you couldn't pick up the vibe I've been putting down, this game is a total mess. So buckle down and forgive me for the cardinal sin of critiquing a game that people have nostalgia for, because it's only going to get worse before it gets better. To play devil's advocate, if you'll pardon the pun, it was made by a very small team, Shiver Games, based in Helsinki, Finland. Not only are they a small independent, but it was their first game, so issues were to be expected, although I still think it's fine to discuss the shortcomings because at times it genuinely feels like the developers never even tested this game, particularly towards the end with some glaringly obvious issues that could easily have been fixed if anyone had spotted them. Regardless, Gene is chilling in the dining room downstairs, and when we reach him, we see a brief flash of our unbridled rage. And anger also portrayed in Lucius's journal entry. I hate when he smokes in the dining room, it makes my head hurt. That is our entire reason for deciding to kill Gene. It's so petty, and I think that plays into the theme perfectly. Children are emotional, unpredictable beasts, and seeing one with near infinite power punishing people for the most minuscules of reasons has its own layer of twisted humor.
Go ahead. I wasn't even watching it.
This level is still essentially a tutorial section. As such, this kill is very straightforward. We know he loves to smoke prolifically, so step one is taking his matches, a task we achieve by moving very slowly and just taking them. You see, this is where the telekinesis power should have come into play, either sliding them to a less conspicuous place or causing a distraction, forcing Jean to move. But no, we move like Drax at 1 millimeter an hour and just take them, with the lad being too afraid of our father's status to say anything. In fact, all the dodgy NPC behavior in this game, I love to wrap it up as Lucius being like a feudal lord's son. I'm talking like Joffrey Baratheon vibes, and they see him doing all this suspicious shit, but are too terrified to speak up about it.
Oops. Well, accidents do happen. I'm sure it's all right.
With the matches gone, the next time he needs a smoke, he has to light his ciggy on the cooker. And interacting with said cooker, it informs us that we need a tool to tamper with it, when we can find upstairs next to the resident handyman.
Why don't you go downstairs and watch TV or something?
Cooker tinkered, the next time Jean goes for a puff, let's just say, it won't be the tobacco getting smoked. With Jean's face removed, MacGuffin returns, inspects the jacked up cooker, mulls over the second body in 2 days, scratches his head and says, looks like another accident.
This is a real unfortunate series of events. Quite uncanny.
Crazy as this level of professional incompetence might seem, would you believe me if I said he has like several more of these it must be accidents in him? It takes a shocking amount of death to convince this detective that something foul is afoot.
This shouldn't have happened. I had a feeling there was something weird going on in that house. I couldn't quite yet put the pieces together, so I took a step back for a while, let it brew.
In the next mission, Tone Death, we aim to take out the maintenance man, Ivor. And this lad, he's a raging alcoholic, by which the game means he's Irish.
Can't you see I'm performing a delicate operation here?
A stereotype pushed so far that he can't even plunge a toilet without getting blackout drunk. And now look, my dad's Irish, I grew up in the west of Ireland. I'd be the first to admit, the Irish do like a drink. They also don't mind having a tipple and getting behind the wheel of a car, but even still, this is a little on the nose, don't you think?
To be sure, to be sure.
At least have a bit of nuance. The whiskey comes after the toilet plunging, else the spirit fund would run dry. They're not totally fucking stupid. At this rate, I'm surprised we didn't have to lure him to his death by dropping a sack of potatoes on his head. Instead, we have to wait for him to pass out, change his work schedule, and tamper with the piano's paddles. And after he waddles over between blackouts, Lucius can take his new telekinesis powers for a spin. Dropping the entire piano on this man's head, mashing his face up like a, I'm not gonna say it, you bastards. The detective is once again called round, and while he's a touch more suspicious this time, he's still happy to write it off as yet another accident.
This might be the worst case of professional neglect I've ever come across.
Every scene with this detective, it's like he's been pulled straight from the movie Hot Fuzz.
Right. What did he say?
I'm keeping this as spoiler-free as possible because I want you to watch it, but in that movie, a big city cop is sent to a small rural village where an increasingly bizarre set of murders are occurring.
Leslie Tiller was fucking murdered!
And no matter how much evidence he gathers, none of the officers will believe his claims.
Murder, murder, murder. Change the fucking record!
The joke being that these rural cops are so used to simple village life, they can't even begin to comprehend a serial killer living amongst them.
Stand back, there's been a terrible accident.
I was half expecting MacGuffin to start chanting it's for the greater good every time we encountered a body.
The autopsy on the maid was inconclusive, but we're still working on the theory she had a poor heart or circulation problems and fainted.
Luckily, mission 4 is where the training wheels finally come off. Heading downstairs, we're able to fully explore Dante Mansion, and it is massive. From the well-maintained central garden to the servants' quarters, the sprawling libraries, and everything in between.
What are you doing here?
Walking around, one thing the game does really well is craft a genuine sense that the employees actually work here. When they're not tottering around carrying out various activities, you can find them hanging out in the utility areas, speaking about personal matters or moaning about their colleagues.
He just comes here once a week and gets paid twice my salary.
Don't get me wrong, the simulation is relatively surface level, a little scratch, and you'll quickly find the limitations of these interactions, but it's all done just enough to make you believe that these characters fill some kind of role in the house.
Can you get me my tire iron from the storage room? That's awful, man.
Speaking of, while roaming the halls, we can bump into our mother, Nancy, who offers the game's only real side content.
Have you cleaned up your room yet?
That is to say, general housekeeping chores that are dished out over the course of the game.
Carry those boxes to the freezer.
Putting our toys away, taking out the trash, brushing our teeth, so on and so forth.
Did you remember to brush your teeth?
All of which raise the obvious question, why would the son of the devil agree to do any of this? It's a total narrative mismatch. Hey, I'm about to use my powers to squash a man's head, but first, let me put my toys away. Don't want my mother to be angry at me when I send her to hell. I suppose if I had to push for some meaning behind this, it does hammer home the fact that this demon is a child. Running around planning these murders, it would have been so easy to forget that fact, and it's the key point that underlines the horrors of this whole story. The corruption of innocence, the contrast of the kid playing with his blocks while in secret he's ending lives in increasingly savage ways. From the player's perspective, the incentives to clean come in the form of 3 unlockable rewards we receive the more chores we complete. First is a Ouija board, which, I don't know, that's kind of a weird gift for a child. Interacting with this item, we get a little clue alluding to the mission at hand. It's technically the most useful item of the 3, although I find the tips can be hit and miss. For example, on the chapter just gone, where we crushed the walking whiskey man with the piano, the clue is, I come in handy, I'm usually small, some people use me when they get a call. What does that have to do with the piano? I think it's referring to the notepad we use to change his work schedule, but we don't kill the man with a notepad, and it's placed right beside the handyman when we enter the room. I'd hardly call it a hot tip.
Fix the piano.
The second reward is the music box, which can be used several times per level to highlight any objects you can pick up or any areas objects can be placed down. It's super situational. There's only a few levels later in the game where it really comes in handy, so it's not a tool I found myself using all that often, but when it works, oh boy, you'll be glad you had it. Then there's the third and final reward, our beloved tricycle. This bad boy will take us from A to B at twice the speed, and while there's never any real time constraints, given you spend a lot of time running back and forth gathering items and clues, it's mega handy, and let's be real, sick as fuck. Also, something funny I noticed is that when you open the in-game map, the camera locks in place, but you can still drive the trike around. But what the child is getting up to when he leaves us behind, I guess we'll never know. This next level, it's a great example of how the mission structure can often be super ambiguous, leading to frustrations. We have to kill the butcher, a man we find inside the meat freezer. He's chopping away and there are so many options as to how we could take this man out. We could freeze him like the maid, we could use our powers to throw him into a meat hook. Sure, it would be hard to spin that one as an accident, but I'm a charismatic guy. Alas, nothing will work. The solution is to equip your telekinesis power, head to the right behind these boxes, aim at the light bulb behind him and break it. There was nothing indicating that this bulb was even breakable. It's one of those you just have to know to progress type situations that don't really feel rewarding when you achieve it.
Why that damn lamp explode? How can I use a saw now if I can't see nothing?
A similar issue occurs a few levels later during a nighttime stealth segment where we're forced to sneak through the mansion without the staff noticing us. Come face to face with anyone and it's an instant game over.
Lucius, what are you doing up?
During one specific mission, there's a storm and the lights are flickering on and off. We need to reach the basement, but to do that, we have to head through our mum's bedroom. Sounds simple enough, but step inside and... turns out she sat in the darkness, staring at a wall, waiting for someone to walk through. So the natural conclusion would be to wait for the lights to turn off, then run through. But this does not work. She always sees us even in the pitch black. The only solution is to head out onto her balcony, ignoring the door into her bedroom and looking for this power box on the side of the house. Then equipping our telekinesis powers and using it to break the box, permanently turning out the lights, allowing us to pass through. Not only is it super hard to know that without a guide, it doesn't even make sense. It's the same level of darkness whether we break the fuse or the lightning does it. It's so rigid. And this reflects one of the first game's most glaring flaws, its unflinching linearity. The end result is both frustration for the player and, as I keep saying, zero replayability, which makes sense for a linear puzzle game, but this game constantly positions itself as being a sandboxy type game. As I said, we're given the tools and the powers to have some real fun in this manner. It's a shame the game doesn't at any point let you open up the gas and just let loose. That said, if you are looking for a bit of dumb fun, there is a priest wave defense mode hidden in the main menu. Think Gears of War, except every enemy is James Wood from Scary Movie 2.
I came as fast as I could. At my age, the little soldier needs a lot more thumping before it starts pumping.
And yes, it's as hilarious as it sounds, blasting priests as they try their best to prevent the end of times. A janky mess made all the better by the game's fixation on activating slow motion anytime you shoot a fireball. It doesn't even have to be aimed at anyone, it can just be at the ground. In the game's defense, it never portrays itself as a combat experience, so it shouldn't be a surprise that the combat is ass, and besides, I can safely say that getting exercised by a clone priest army is an experience you do not get anywhere else. But back to the replayability issues, the second point I want to make is closely tied to the first, and that's ironically the freedom in which you find the tools or items you use to solve these niche puzzles. You can find almost every item for every kill at any point without any ability to use them until their specific level. Like, you can find poisonous tablets in a secret but easy to discover room in the basement. Then later we have to poison the head maid, but you cannot use the basement pills. We have to wait till nighttime and steal some rat poison from the hallway and use that to kill her. A puzzle made almost unbearable because we had access to poison the entire time. Not only that, but it has the knock-on effect of making you miss out on the nuances of establishing your target. For example, with those pills I mentioned, about midway through the game we have to poison a second victim. But if we had already found the required poison pills in the basement by happen chance, when the mission starts, the notepad automatically begins with half the mission details filled in, acting as if we already followed each mission's steps, including speaking to the target and the secret revelation that one of our family members are up to no good, hence the hidden altar beneath our house. Same goes for the nail gun. This weapon is supposed to be used for the penultimate kill of the game. You're meant to load that level, find a fuse, power up the outside shed and refuel the nail gun in a tense rush, but you will almost certainly have done all this setup before the level even begins, ruining the build up that mission was meant to offer. And before anyone says it, this isn't a case of having a hyper inquisitive playstyle. By the very nature of the game's convoluted solutions, there are dozens of levels that have you looking everywhere for any glimpse of a solution, meaning you're super likely to find all these items even if you're a typically reserved explorer. It's technically a small thing, I suppose, but I wish they found more clever ways of making the items appear naturally, scattered around the house when their uses arise, or failing that, allowing more leeway to use the items as we pleased.
Hello there, little fella. I have a job.
But back to the old meat man, we get him a replacement light bulb, and as he steps onto the slicer to swap it out, we activate the machinery, causing him to fall face first into the blade in what looks like a misguided PETA campaign. On the upside, this death does serve a purpose because it gets MacGuffin's ass into gear.
This situation is ridiculous, Mr. Wagner. And I'm holding off the Bureau from launching an inquiry.
Once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is also maybe an accident, but 4 times? This screams bloody murder.
I'm posting a deputy at the house.
Finally, McGubbins is starting to piece together that maybe, just maybe, something's going wrong here, even posting a police officer to patrol our mansion.
These freak accidents were keeping me up at night. 4 deaths in 4 months, all apparent accidents. I had my doubts.
From this point, the preceding quarter of the game is the best it has to offer. The tutorials are out of the way, the house is ours to explore, and we can simply revel in the goofy kills this game is famous for. Be that the aforementioned poisoning of our nasty head maid, causing the butler to slip on ice and impaling him with an icicle, or the less comical acts, like using our possession powers to encourage the gardener to ram his head into the lawnmower's spinning blades. Something I love, which you might have noticed, is that during this period, the game flicks through the seasons as the story progresses. The trees are bare and fall and coated with snow during the winter. Sadly, the levels move at such a fast pace that it's hard to appreciate these small touches, but I think it goes a long way in creating a genuine sense of presence.
I know we've had our difficulties this year, but don't let that ruin our Christmas.
It reminded me a lot of Rockstar's Bully, just Bully, not The Bully, may Lord have mercy on my poor soul, in which the passing of time is felt so much more intimately with the changing of the seasons, transforming the areas you know and love into festive versions with costumes, pranks, and snowballs to boot. It's not something many games do, so I always appreciate the effort when I see it, even if we can't throw snowballs with little razor blades hidden inside. Now, before returning to the main story, there's one level that happens towards the end of the game that I want to talk about here instead. In this mission, we're tasked with killing a maid when she goes for a bath.
Oh, the washer is broken again. Well, my shift is over, so it is off to the shower for me.
A goal we achieve by spying on her through a peephole and using our telekinesis ability to drop her hairdryer in the tub. Its dumb hilarity made all the better by the fact that she is never physically inside of the bath. She is always glitching halfway out, suspended in the air. I mean, I guess one of the devs modeled those tartars and they're making damn sure the world can see them.
This case is typical of women her age.
As said, this mission comes much later, but it's only a short one and it's dropped at a very interesting point in the story, so to me it makes more sense to mention it here for the overall video pacing.
Just do what you have to do. I honestly believe we've been cursed.
So, going back to the plot, the next big development happens once our uncle enters the picture.
Oh my god!
A strange man that's been lurking behind the scenes since the very start, locked inside his special little room.
Hey, I'm working here. This is not for children.
Turns out he's the person that created the bathroom peephole I just mentioned, using this little closet as an impromptu prawn creation dungeon. Both a perverse invasion of privacy and a potential EDP indicator, what with a child also using these facilities. Outside of this voyeuristic paradise, he's getting down and dirty with 2 of the manor's maids, and one of which is our target, with Lucius fixing to use her love of Tom to push her over the edge. To do this, we need photographic evidence of our uncle cheating, which is what he's currently doing in the staff quarters with surprising vigor. They are both terribly pneumatic. The camera can be found in our uncle's study, but strangely, Unc doesn't seem to care when we use our powers to lower it off the shelf.
Hello, my boy.
In fact, he's acting rather ominous, or should I say, omen-us. What a fucking awful segue. In case you hadn't realized, Lucius is heavily inspired by the movie Omen, a 1976 horror directed by Richard Donner Kebab. In The Omen, the role of Lucius is played by a child named Damien.
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
This game follows the movie's core plot almost beat for beat. There's the demonic child, the aristocratic family, a lavish mansion, and the progressive murdering of all those around Damien. Honestly, it's so similar that I'm surprised there wasn't any kind of grumblings from the suits in Hollywood. I know I mentioned it in my Silent Hill 3 video, but it reminded me a lot of the Bram Stoker's Dracula drama. Back in 1992, the Dracula story was taken and adapted into an almost identical story, Nosferatu. This film ended up a cult classic and only recently got its own adaptation by Robert Eggers.
But I've never been so happy.
But back in the day, there was a slight problem. The creators of Nosferatu hadn't got any permission to adapt the source material, and the Stoker estate was less than stoked. A massive legal battle ensued between the creators of Nosferatu and the wife of the late Mr. Stoker, the result of which was Nosferatu nearly being wiped from the history books, citing the minor changes to names and locations as not being enough to claim fair use use and demanding that all retail copies be destroyed. Thankfully, plenty remained, and having survived this burning, Nosferatu eventually reached public domain status, allowing the IP to carve out its own space alongside its ancient inspiration.
They say you are a man of good taste.
It was a landmark case in copyright law, particularly in regards to unauthorized adaptations. It wasn't the first case, but it's probably one of the most widely publicized. And I'm glad it didn't, but a similar situation could have arose here, especially with how shitty movie studios can be with copyright claims and IP protection. Where and when the lines should be drawn, I don't know. The difference between inspiration and theft is constantly being tread with damn near every piece of content on damn near every platform. For every Mr. Beast, there are 1,000 platinum head fucks ready to give a Tesla to the last blind person still cupping their balls.
Would you risk birdie life for $500,000?
But back with Gramps, on his desk, we actually discover a note alluding to the secret chamber in the basement. But we'll get to that in a moment. For now, we have to turn on Naomi Hayward and snap a photo of our uncle bumping pisses. Picture in hand, we hatch a devious plan. You see, by this point, Detective MacGuffin, he's hot on our trail. So we don't just need a sacrifice, we need a scapegoat. Entering Jovita's bedroom, we don't just plant the picture of her partner cheating, we also plant the padlock from the start of the game and the poison pills bottle we used to kill the head maid. Two key pieces of evidence that place her at the heart of both crimes. Eventually, she retires for the day, entering her room only to discover the heartbreaking image.
Oh my god. How can he do this to me?
Running to the upstairs balcony like a dramatic lead in some Spanish TV show, we follow close behind, and once we're there, we're able to take our mind control powers for another spin, interacting with Jovita and forcing her to take a leap of faith with no hay. Also, I know I haven't really given a rundown of what sounds like a super interesting power. Mind control. I mean, the options here should have been endless. If it were up to me, I'd have the whole cast doing the can-can before diving headfirst into a wood chipper, but as I've already complained about, there's roughly 4 specific scenarios this power is used, and there's nothing else you can do with it. I cannot hammer home enough just how underutilized the powers are in this game. Something the sequel actually tried to fix with a shocking case of overcorrection, but I'll have to get into that in my next video. Back with Jovita, once the police uncover all the evidence, the previous murders look like the work of a deranged lover driven mad by infidelity, and given MacGuffin's general vibe towards women, he eats that shit up.
Well, we have a motive too. Pictures of you and Susan Myers and, how should we put it delicately, flagrante delicto.
What is becoming clear is that this detective is in Wagner's pocket.
This whole thing is a freaking mess, and I'm trying to put a cap on it. So both of you listen good. Jovita was stealing from the house. She poisoned Agnes because she was onto her. We'll ignore all the indiscretions in the report for the sake of your family.
Even going so far as to threaten a reporter with a kiss on the lips if they don't leave the Wagners alone.
Now listen to me. You leave those people alone. They've had some bad luck is all. They're nice people, and they need space to get over their losses, okay?
Whether that's through the father's political power or the family's historic ties to organized crime, it's unclear. Although it might go a ways in explaining why this detective was willing to bury his head in the sand for so long. Perhaps he wasn't utterly incompetent. Maybe he just didn't want to dig too deep unless he uncovers something incriminating against the man lining his pockets.
They won't get a story from me.
With Jovita out of the picture, next up is the man himself, old Uncle Tom, who's fallen into a drunken stupor, believing his actions led to Jovita's insanity.
Oh, Lucius, how could she do it? Why would she do such a thing?
It's a truly crazy twist. I didn't realize he was half Irish. The plan for taking out our uncle is simple: to poison his whiskey, the poison for which we find in the underground lair, whose location we discover in our grandfather's study.
Everything seems to be going well.
Heading downstairs, we check behind the wine cellar and follow the long, dark hallway to discover a demonic ritual site, which means our grandfather is directly implicated in this devilish pact, even offering up the poison to kill his own son. We'll learn more about Fabius in due course, but for now we take the poison, spike a bottle of whiskey and hand it over to Uncle, who after tasting the poison manages to put 2 and 2 together. He's the first and only person to figure out what's going on here, but alas, it came too late.
It's you. You did this! You little shit!
Taking his last breath, he reaches out, desperately trying to stop us with what little strength he has left.
Oh shit, no. Not this, no. Not this, no.
And as always, MacGuffin is ready to write off this, like, what, 7th suspicious death as yet another unpreventable accident. Something Charles actually finally seems sick of.
I want you and your men out of this house by nightfall. There's nothing more for you here.
I suppose there's only so many dead bodies you can see before you start to doubt the qualifications of your personal detective.
Again, I'm really sorry for your loss. I'll say a prayer for you and your family, Mr. Wagner.
I mean, has anyone even checked this dude's license? The best twist this game could have done would be that MacGuffin was actually pulling up from the local loony bin and was just trying his luck.
I've been having nightmares. Terrible scenes playing through my head. And this family, they are the players.
It sounds to me like this family needs help, my son. It sounds to me like the church should intervene.
MacGuffins shoot off, Charles seeks comfort with his father, blissfully unaware of his involvement in the murder.
Have you no feelings, Dad? Why didn't you come to Tom's funeral?
He was a wastrel, and he died a wastrel's death. He was no son of mine.
It's a great interaction because we get to see just how little Fabius cares for his children. There's no love, no emotion. Motion is cold and distant, with Fabius more occupied with serving his master than the lives of his own children.
We're all just pawns in the larger scheme of things. These people, they're just fodder for death's eventual Scythe. You only need to play your role, Charles, and be a good boy.
Cue a cross-garden stare-off. Later that evening, as rain falls and lightning strikes, the reporter MacGuffin scared off seems to think that it would be a good idea to break into the mansion and have a little snoop around. That's genius. Just head up to their house on Haunted Hill with all the missing people and get himself a highly illegal scoop. Eventually, he makes it to the wine cellar, dangerously close to uncovering the truth when he encounters Fabius.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Here, the reporter makes the 1000 IQ move of just acting like he belongs here, like Fabius invited him personally to meet him in the wine cellar at midnight.
I'm Wayne Preston from the Herald. I'd like a word with you about recent events here at Dante Manor. I tried the doorbell, but there was no answer. It looked like it would rain, so I simply...
You're trespassing. I could have you shot.
But before the man can work his charm, he's knocked out cold by a vintage Pinot Noir. Reporter stashed, Fabius heads upstairs and wakes Lucius up, acknowledging our discovery and telling us to meet him in the ritual site.
So, you've been exploring and you found the chamber. Well done, Lucius. Get your clothes on and meet me down there. Don't let anyone see you on the way. I noticed that not everyone is sleeping yet.
This is one of the infamous sneaking sections I mentioned earlier. We need to head from our bedroom down to the basement, and the halls are filled with people just walking back and forth. During the journey, if we're spotted, it's game over. Reloading with a good chance to find Lucius clipping through the floorboards.
Come on, my boy.
We're helped during this segment with the addition of a new power, the ability to cause short-term memory loss, which means if we're caught, we can use the ability and have a few seconds to get away.
Don't worry. It's just a shortage. Let's get you to bed.
I'd wager this power was created solely for the devs to not have to worry about balancing the AI or pathfinding for each person exploring the house. Rather than placing the occupants thoughtfully and crafting an engaging pass-through, they just let them wander randomly and give us a power to help take the edge off. They also, for some reason, couldn't be asked to work out whether or not the person being controlled was male or female, so every time you use the power, it always says you take away his/her memories.
What are you doing up? Go back to your bed right now.
What is he? Some kind of demonic liberal sissy? Taking our time and moving carefully through, we reach the basement and find the reporter laid out with Fabius waiting to share his plan.
My two dumbass kids played down in these cellars for years. This is where it all happens, Lucius. This is the heart of Dante Manor.
And it's thanks to his satanic devotion that Lucius has found himself in this mess to begin with.
But it is you I have been waiting for. You will show us all the way. Get this table ready for the ritual while I find the correct scripture.
So, while he reads the Necronomicon, it's our job to set up the ritual site. And naturally, this section was challenging because, would you believe, you're given no clues as to what this setup entails. And I know I keep complaining about the mechanical clarity of this game, but I'm sure people will be typing out that I'm just nitpicking, or that figuring things out is part of the fun, that modern gamers are just stupid and need their hands held, which I normally totally agree with. I don't need yellow paint to be slapped on every wall and barrel. I've beaten the hardest games going with a smile on my face, and I'll continue to long into my elder years, but there's a difference between, hey, here's a puzzle, go solve it, and here's a problem with zero reasonable indicators as to what's expected of you and a very niche set of solutions to solve it. For starters, we have to walk over to this here concealed spot and pick up these inconspicuous straps to tie the man down. Which, fair enough, they could have been placed a little bit more conspicuously, and frankly, the dude already looks strapped down, ready for a milking, but who are we to judge? What, a white boy can't get a little milking these days? Jesus. Next, we have to take 4 bowls and place them at the corners of the altar, but after matching them up and attempting to place them, one will not go down. So at first, you'd think it was just either the wrong item or another glitch, but if you check your journal, you discover that the bowl has a crack in it and you need to glue it shut before it can be placed, which means if you didn't find find the glue in your teacher's desk prior to this level, you have to head all the way upstairs, grab it, and bring it all the way back. After you've done all that, the site is ready to go, and Fabius instructs us to grab the ritualistic blade. But being the son of the devil, we don't take orders from no one, and frankly, he's getting a little bit too big for his boots. So while his back is turned, we gently wiggle the blade into it. A sight so shocking, it gives the freshly concussed reporter superhuman strength and allows him to rip through the restraints. During this daring escape, he grabs the dagger right out of Gramps and wields it against us.
Let's just calm down and try and figure out what happened here.
But worry not, because we have one last power up our sleeves. The power of hell itself.
Holy shit!
Sadly, it's not a power we can pull out anytime we fancy. It only works in cases of extreme danger and after a human sacrifice, aka once or twice in the whole game to prevent us from having too much fun.
Oh, that's very
But with our Gramps in the mud and a witness to dispose of, it's our time to shine, blasting him left, right and center as he frantically tries to rush us. Let him get too close and the man will give you the London handshake. Keeping our distance and making sure the power draining crosses remain upside down, we fry his ass. And I mean that quite literally. We spend longer watching his body burn than we do engaging in the entire fight. After this, we get a cutscene of our father who finally decides to pay some level of attention to what's going on, namely the suspicion he has over his father for his unreasonably cold demeanor towards his own son's death. And searching through his office, he finds a book dedicated to Satanism.
The Book of Leviathan, Anton LaVey, Invocations to Satan? Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Jesus, Dad. What were you getting into?
Joining the dots, he brings his theory and evidence to his wife, who instantly shuts him down.
I can't rule out the possibility that my father had something to do with this. But we need to get Lucius to a psychologist to find out.
Oh my God, Charles, have we not been through enough already?
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Charles? All these dead bodies and now you want to start using your brain? You want to start getting our creepy mute son some therapy? For shame. Give the little devil some room to grow. And after that meek attempt, things instantly return to normal. In fact, despite his growing suspicions, the following mission is the first time Lucius has any real contact with his father, Charles Wagner.
What is it you do all day? Find something to occupy yourself.
A man who is more interested in his political campaign than he is in raising his child. He's gunning for another term in the US Senate, a goal that's slipping through his fingers, what with all the missing people mounting up, his father included. More than anything, his ambition serves as a reasonable distraction for Charles, one that allows the finer details of our demonic behavior to slip by mostly unnoticed. Granted, I don't think a stern talking to would have saved Lucius from demonic prophecy, but for these plots to work, there has to be a clear air of neglect, a set of parents that have no idea what their child's up to and are therefore unable to see the warning signs in their behavior. Anyway, our target for this mission is Lucius's in-house teacher, James.
I'm just having a chat with your mother.
A man that's determined to educate our young mind, much to his own peril.
Now our next subject is biology. Do you have your biology book with you?
To take him out, we need to access our father's safe, and after finding the code in his bedroom and distracting him with some important papers,
thanks, Lucius,
we unlock it to discover a revolver. And before you ask, yes, you can use it to blast anyone that stands in our way.
What is it you do all day?
Somehow, the 30 seconds you spend walking this gun down the hallway is the most spontaneous fun you can have in the entire game, even if every encounter ends the same way. You can also repeatedly flash the revolver at James like a pure sadist, just flashing the man's own death at him between sentences. He should be taking the hint. We don't want to learn math.
How much is 1 + 1 + 1?
When his back is turned, we place the gun on his desk and use our mind control powers to bring his life to an end. After our teacher's death, the end is near and the game's pace is dialed up to the max, with our next mission sadly taking aim at our buddies in the garage.
Hey there, little dude.
Entering, we get our standard bloody introduction, but this time, splashed on the wall in blood is the word sloth, meaning Michael is one of 2 characters in the game that correlates to a cardinal sin, the other being the headmaid Agnes, who died from her greed, with glutton being written beside her desk. These are part of the 7 deadly sins, the others being lust, greed, wrath, envy, and pride. Having these relate to our victims, it makes sense. It's almost like Lucifer is claiming souls that fit some criteria. So it's almost a shame the game didn't make every victim fit the layers in some capacity. I mean, our uncle was a lusty old boy, yet the sin never appears for his introduction despite being a natural fit. It could even have been funny to see Lucius making people fit these criterias in increasingly stretched ways to justify their sacrifice. Like, hey, did I just get told off for smashing a bottle of vintage champagne?
Don't worry. I'll clean that up in a moment.
My. With a wrath like that, you belong in a deep layer of hell, my friend.
I must have pulled my back out.
The goal in the garage is to knock out Michael, the family chauffeur, then turn on the car and let the fumes kill him. Problem is, this entire section is straight up broken. Shock, I know, your jaw must be on the floor. For starters, we need to get Will out of the room and use our powers to make him disable the ventilation system. Except my game glitched out and he would not turn off the ventilation. He just stood there endlessly shaking his entire body left and right. An epic battle to resist our powers that he fucking won.
No.
He never left this animation, resulting in a painful softlock and having to reload an earlier save. Then, if you're lucky enough to get past that section, you're supposed to soak a cloth in paint stripper and make Michael huff it to knock him out.
Stinks.
But you never have to actually soak the cloth. If you possess Michael and make him interact with the cloth at any point, he'll huff nothing and get knocked out regardless, with our diary entry straight up gaslighting us. I have managed to pour paint thinner on a rag. No, you didn't, buddy. Stop fucking lying. Then, when he falls, no matter what, he always falls forward and clips through the table. This is just plain lazy. If the fall was randomly generated based on physics and on the odd occasion he found his way into funny spots, I'd get it, but he always falls forward every time. This is likely a handmade animation, so why not just make him fall backwards, right? It's such an easy fix. How did no one spot this? The final few missions of this game really feel like a rushed shambles, and it only gets worse from here. But for now, the police discover the body of Michael and instantly assume Will was behind it despite his best protest against the fact.
I didn't hear anything over the music. I know how it sounds, but I swear, I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, right. Well, you can explain that to the judge.
And I mean, MacGuffin believed in the most insane coincidences.
Typical of women her age.
But the second a black man's involved, the lad's chained to a shelf and convicted on the spot. MacGuffin really is still in the 60s time period.
So this is just to make sure you don't go do anything stupid.
Thankfully, he leaves Will totally alone. So we take this one-on-one time to douse him in petrol and torch the poor bastard. Oh, would you look at that? Another freak accident, and this time it was the murderer who died.
What the hell happened here? I left the room for like 5 seconds.
Holy shit, is that Will? I just had coffee with him this morning.
Oh well, the Lord sure does work in mysterious ways.
Give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning.
These 2 murders are, however, the final nails in the coffin for our parents, with our mother having a mentee B and our father being convinced that we're behind all of it, running off to somehow prove his theory.
I'm going to wait for you in the garden with our son. If you don't show up, then we will leave without you.
That thing is not our son, and I'm going to prove it to you.
This mission is called American Schizophrenic, and it's the mission I mentioned earlier that requires the nail gun. But who is the target? Well, it's our very own mother. She brought us into this world, and by God, we're gonna take her out of it. We're quickly shown a snapshot of our father discovering the lair, hidden beneath the house, dead father and all, leaving us with little to no time to enact our crime before we're given a stern talking to. As I mentioned earlier, for the most part, the start of this level is a dud. What should be an intense rush is quelled by our already having the nail gun ready to go. Now we just need to figure out what to do before our dad comes back. Do we just pop her in the head, Lenny style? Do we leave it next to her and give her the teacher treatment? Oh no, I must Bob the Builder on my forehead. Turns out we have to leave it on a random patch of grass by the bench that you just have to know to look at with the nail gun equipped. Then we have to wait for our father to get close and mind control him to take out our mother and his beloved wife. It's an act of true cruelty. Even if his dad was a bit of a dick, making him shoot his own wife and framing him for the act is another level of diabolical.
What have I done? No, this can't be!
Having witnessed the whole thing, MacGuffin instantly places Charles under arrest.
He's the
We saw the
Antichrist!
whole thing.
But before he can be cuffed to a bench and left to die, our father breaks both his imprisonment and the guard's nose.
Get
Under
your
arrest.
hands off me!
Stay with the kid. I'll go after him.
I'll call for backup.
With a post-scene narration from MacGuffin, we get the description of a high-speed pursuit which results in a crash and our father doubling back to the mansion.
I was in close pursuit when I lost control of the car and crashed into a ditch. I tried to notify the deputy. There was a chance Wagner would double back to the mansion.
All of which sounds fucking sick, and I would ask why we didn't get to see it personally, but I know why. It's because at this rate, it would have ended up looking like a scene from Ride the Hell Retribution. Charles knows he's been set up, and he knows it was Lucius, which means he's likely coming back for revenge, something the local police officer is trying to protect us from as we enter the game's final act.
Charles Wagner, Caucasian, early 40s. Proceed with caution, suspect may be armed and dangerous.
Now, I know I'm guilty of using a wee bit of dramatic flair to pique one's interest and hammer home points in my videos, but when I say that this game has one of the worst endings of any game I've ever played, I am not joking. Our first course starts with Lucius trapped in a small dining room with a police officer that believes he's looking after us. There's a problem though. The room is covered in crosses, like 3 of them, an excessive amount for any one room. Fortunately, our telekinesis ability still works. Unfortunately, we can't use it to manipulate the crosses directly. We have to achieve our goal by making a marble bust float, which spooks the officer into shooting them, missing by a mile and destroying the crosses on the wall. A process we repeat several times, one after the other. It's like a skit straight out of Scary Movie. One that ends when he misses the final statue and it ricochets off a ceiling fan, which then turns into an Apache helicopter and dices the man's head clean off. What occurred to me during this scene in particular is how closely the gameplay resembles Death from the Final Destination franchise, a wicked force that manipulates the environment to take out targets in excessive campy fashion.
Seeing is believing.
And much like in those movies, the game's only real high point is watching these kills play out. All the rest is essentially filibuster.
Did you remember to brush your teeth? Don't make me remind you again.
With the sacrifice in our pocket, our fire abilities return, and with nothing left to lose, Lucius releases a massive explosion, engulfing Dante's manor in flames. After this, the screen dips to black and we're presented with a choice, the representation of which means fucking zilch. There are 2 symbols, one of fire and the other a puzzle piece. Like, what do they even mean? I don't know. This is some algebra type shit and we made our teacher blow his brains out. We're not equipped to handle this. Your selection here will determine the ending you get, and they're essentially a variation of the same, with the fire symbol being a straightforward combat affair and the puzzle piece representing a series of environmental puzzles you have to solve.
Leave you unholy spirit! I command you to leave this child alone!
In the fire ending, we're rushed by a duo of priests that we blast with a fiery rage. The ideal way to conclude this segment, if you ask me. But in the puzzle ending, only one priest attacks, wielding his cross against us.
Leave you unholy spirit! I command you to leave this child alone!
Now surely, as the choice implies, we have to solve some kind of puzzle to defeat him, right? Well, no. We use telekinesis to throw several objects at him, pushing him to the door and eventually flinging him out. Take too long pushing him back or run out of throwable furniture and we have our coming to Jesus moment. But with the way out cleared, the next section is, in fairness, closer to an actual puzzle. His priest friend will run back and forth in the lobby as a timer counts down. We can't use our powers, and he won't let us get anywhere near him. Turns out there's a pentagram hidden in the back of the utility room, and standing in it activates our powers. The entire puzzle here is that he won't just stand still and let us kill him. So it's this awkward game of cat and mouse where we have to chase him in, quickly rush ahead, do a 180 and blow his head off.
The power of Christ compels you. No! No! God help me! Ah! Ah! Oh, no! No!
Both of these endings culminate in a fight with our father, who jumps down from the balcony equipped with a fire extinguisher. This means that our fire powers are useless. Explosion be damned. The extinguisher has apparently been blessed by Leo himself, which means we have to think of another way to take him out. First up is the combat ending, and it is a nightmare. It forces you to run around the lobby for ages, trying every trick in the book to no avail. And it turns out that this ending is also a puzzle. We have to lure him to the right side of the stairs, equip our telekinesis power, wait for him to stand under this pillar, and then drop it on his ass. Dad squat, we hard cut to Lucius walking out the front door as the police arrive and credits roll. It's as abrupt as you would expect, but it isn't widely regarded as the canon ending. That goes to the puzzle variant, in which our fight against Dad is a lot more straightforward in concept, when it works. In this ending, we need to lure Charles under the chandelier by using our possession ability to make him interact with a bust on the floor. And while he's distracted, we use our telekinesis power to drop the chandelier on him. Simple enough, except of course my game glitched out again and the bust was permanently sat in front of the front doors instead of under the chandelier, meaning the chandelier always missed our father and I was totally locked out of finishing the game until I reloaded an earlier save. A bug made all the worse by the fact that you can literally time the chandelier to drop and land on his head as he walks past, but it will not register without him first interacting with the bust. The whole thing is pure ass to the highest degree no matter which angle you approach it. The only upside of either ending is our father using the fire extinguisher and just swinging for the hills against our dome. In the conclusion of the puzzle ending, with our dad incapacitated, we slowly walk over, fireball in hand, ready to turn that man into Wagner Calamari when he throws a cross shuriken. Now he's ready to end this, raising the fire extinguisher above his head. But before he can put an end to this nightmare, he's shot. The ever-incompetent MacGuffin has returned, and thinking Charles is off his rocker, he mag dumps the bitch. Helping Lucius up, the two walk out side by side in slow Michael fucking Bay motion and roll credits. This is the canon ending, with MacGuffin inadvertently saving the life of the child that caused all his problems and giving very little clues as to what comes next. Much like the alternate ending, it's abrupt, it's awkward, and it's unsatisfying, which, let's be honest, is probably a fitting end for one of the most broken finales I have ever experienced. Lucius really is an interesting game, primarily because I always find myself looking back on it with this comfy nostalgia, thinking only of its better qualities, the unique premise, the goofy humor, the unhinged murders. I mean, even now, after having edited this video, I almost feel an itch to play it again. I don't understand the power this game has. It might legitimately be cursed, but make no mistake, it is an extremely broken and frustrating game, made all the more annoying because so many of its issues could have been fixed with the tiniest bit of playtesting. We've all heard the term "so bad it's good," but I'd argue Lucius has its own unique subcategory. It's so bad it's good to watch someone else play. It's hard to think of a game that's more divisive between how it plays versus how you feel looking back on it. Maybe it's a secret power of Lucius, or maybe it's a credit to how unique the concept is. What I do know is that for better or worse, it's burned a permanent place in gaming history. I suppose that's why I wanted to make the video in the first place, because there are some amazing moments that I knew would be great to talk about and for you guys to see, but I also know that most people wouldn't and kind of shouldn't sit through the actual gameplay experience, particularly where the second and third game are concerned. Trust me, this was only the tip of a shit iceberg. But if you want to see how epically those two games fumbled, you'll have to wait, because I'll be covering both of those games in my next video. The Fall of Lucius.
Life is needlessly complex at times, and I thought I would find some solid ground, some kernel of wisdom or capital T truth, by constructing upon self-reliance itself, at home. Every home is equipped with far more resources than most players will ever explore in Project Zomboid. Usually when they spawn in, most people will immediately exit the first house after they've gathered a few basic items. But being stuck in one place invites resourcefulness and exercises creativity. Almost everything can be dismantled, recycled, and recrafted into something more useful and ingenious than its components. Because I wanted to deeply understand the game's crafting and survival at its core level, I stripped away almost all of the fat and decided to use only the bare necessities. So for a new challenge, I decided to see how long I could survive in a single house, without leaving for any reason. I needed to formulate a build capable of maximizing on a small space, so I chose to max out my carpentry stat. For negative traits, I chose obese, agoraphobic, conspicuous, disorganized, hard of hearing, clumsy, short-sighted, slow reader, and Sunday driver. These characterize someone who has a lot of time on his hands. For positive traits, I chose wakeful, brave, lucky, fast learner, handy, and strong. I built my character Home Man, the spitting image of America, hard-working and fat. Day 1, I spawned in, sedentary and full of purpose. The first task was urgent: get to the television and sit down to watch Life and Living TV. These were valuable stat points I couldn't miss out on. Just for watching TV for a few minutes, it's over 1 skill point in cooking. The show ended, but that was the only one I couldn't afford to miss. I'd have to scour for books now. Luckily, there on the shelf was Expert Carpentry and master carpentry. This was the only bit of time-sensitive information. You need to read through all of advanced carpentry if you want to get the most out of the carpentry show. There's scheduled times at which this essential programming takes place in Zomboid's first days, and the Nox event is time-sensitive. Miss too many days and you'll miss out on those skills. And there's actually quite an absurd amount of skill grinding to get through if you ever want to build up.
Hello. Hello. I am unmuting.
Granted.
Yeah. Hello, I'm unmuting because I kind of want to talk about Project Zomboid. And I can't type it all out without getting so distracted. Oh, by the way, Maxine. Hi, welcome to the stream. Yes, I'm unmuting now. Shocker. Zon is the one right next to me, by the way. And he is my boyfriend, and he is asking me about Project Zomboid. I don't necessarily know how to describe Project Zomboid in the best way possible because I've only really played it through mods. But essentially, it's a survival-based horror game. Shocker! Wow, so original. But I would like to say that it goes way more in-depth in gameplay wise, because if you can see right now on this tiny ass screen, there's carpentry, cooking, farming, first aid, electrical, and then there's a shit ton of boxes, right? Yeah, so it goes literally into I think for me it doesn't feel like a zombie game. It feels like a fucking life simulator. Like, hey, I want to do carpentry, go learn shit about it, listen to the TV, read the book or something, and then actually do carpentry to gain those skill points. And what Maxon just said, it's an open world sandbox zombie game. Well, it is an open world. You do have maps, and your only limit is the maps, but you know. And you can do just a shit ton of stuff in there. Yeah! It's kind of like, you're aware of The Sims, yes. Of course, you are, right, Zon? You know what that looks like,
What,
yes?
Sims?
Yes, The Sims game. You know what that looks like, right? Son.
I watched that game without play it.
Yeah, but you know what it looks like, right? And you just go to
But you
places.
know what that game without does with his videos?
But you know that it's like essentially top down, and you can make your Sims do something. Yeah, just that. It's essentially The Sims, but in a zombie game. And one of its like bigger, like not really bigger to be honest, but one of its key factors in the base game is once you die, your character becomes a zombie and you have to actually play as another character. And I hated that, okay? I hated that so much. I hated it so much. But like it's a fun concept. Like for you to not die, because in the start you're literally just a single character spawning out from a street, and you're going to go ransack houses. You're gonna make something your base. You actually have to scrounge up for food, and food has expiry dates, and cooked food has faster expiry dates. Oh, and you have to learn how to cook as well. It's fun. It's literally just Life Simulator, but in a Project Zomboid game. No, it doesn't. Wait.
How do you learn to cook then?
It's not really.
You find recipes?
You find the books on how to cook. You listen to you turn on the TV, and how do you turn on the TV in the post-world zombie apocalypse? You find a fucking generator, so you can literally yoink a generator from another house, plug it into the house, open up the TV, go up to a cooking channel, and then you can learn the fucking skill for the cooking. And that applies for every other mechanic in the game that you can see here. There's like electrical, upper mechanics tailoring. But that's just for the essential skills. If you see on the upper part of that, there's long blunt, short blunt, long blade, short blade, spear, maintenance. That's your mastery in weapons. Yeah, you have to fucking master different weapons. You're gonna use a short knife. Oh, that's gonna be a short blade. You're gonna use a bat. That's gonna be a long blunt. Bitch, that's so fun. Okay, so it's fun because like essentially you are investing in your character to essentially be, zombie proof. You have to zombie proof a house. You have to fix the windows or fix the walls and shit like that. And you can, what's it called? You can essentially, at the start, like when you're making your character, you can also give them like a job, like what was your job before the apocalypse, and that gives them like ups on the skill point. So like, I usually get thief. I usually get
thief.
Thief, theft,
What's thief?
theft.
Oh, theft.
Yeah. So I
That's
usually
okay
get
if you're
burglar.
saying thief.
I usually get burglar. Sorry, thief. Burglar. Either of the two. It's essentially the same thing. But I get that mainly because, they have stealth options. You can learn how to do stealth stuff by crouching in the game, but like because I'm also a burglar, I have stealth and I have light feet. So when I step, the zombies don't hear me. The zombies can hear you, but if you run, you can shout in game. You can press space, I think, to shout in game. They will hear you. You walk over something, they hear you. You walk over the broken glass because you broke through a window. You broke a window and you walk over that glass. They will hear you, and it's so fun. They move slow, thankfully, but they can run too sometimes. Yes.
Wasn't I must forgot that to say. Like, I just imagine, like without the burglar perk or trait or whatever, you are just crouching. When you become burglar, crab walks. Just walks faster while crouching.
But yeah, so you have all of these different skills which you have to learn, and I'm pretty sure the video will go over all of this, by the way. But you all have the skills to learn. You can craft stuff, you can try to board up a window. The possibilities are endless. It's literally sandbox. I don't know why I'm so excited for it. I think I'm just excited for it because of the concept that it's a zombie game and there are existing houses for you to loot from. And I love looting.
I think two things. One, kleptomania. Two, there's a lot of like customizability, like
Not really.
in terms of the traits and shit.
Oh yeah, and the traits.
You
Oh
can-
my god. Oh, I want to.
There's a lot of items. I'm assuming like you can find a lot of items. You can learn a lot of shit.
Yes.
Lots of different kind of traits.
Yes.
Where you start on the map probably affects it too.
Yes. Yes.
But I still don't get how you, someone who hates zombie games, would enjoy a zombie game. But like,
Because it has the concept of hoarding. I've installed a bunch of mods that essentially gives me a bigger backpack. Or gives me shit to
Okay.
put stuff like, dude, I can have a single holster or a double holster, and I can put 2 guns. Also, the guns in the game, I'm pretty sure it could be a mod, but the guns in the game, they need specific bullets. You need a bullet for your magnum. Oh, you can't have the bullet of a fucking CP45 or some shit. You can't have that. You need to actually have a magnum bullet for your fucking diesel or some shit. I don't know. I'm not good at guns. Don't blame me for this. You want to have ammo for your assault rifle? Too bad. You need a fucking right ammunition for that. You can't just be any old fucking rifle thing. That's like real life. And having to treasure hunt for those shit is very fun. Yes?
that is late game like just you make a fortress and just tower defense then.
To be honest, it's not even tower defense because they're not actively looking swarming for you unless you make a sound.
No, I mean like you make a fortress, you put turrets on it. Zombies come close, they just die.
I don't know. Maybe it's a mod. I've not personally
Because,
played a Zomboid game with turrets on it.
Because like I only have one question: what will the progression?
The progression,
Exactly. Like,
the progression, in my opinion, is you surviving.
yeah, but that's boring.
It's
But, like,
not boring because you have all of these different things you need to learn how to survive. You get injured, you need to learn first aid. And in order to do first aid, you need to find first aid books or actually try to first aid yourself. And that's how you get the skill points. I think the fun part in Zomboid is the investment of your character. You want to board up a fucking window. It will take you long if you haven't done carpentry. You don't have a point of carpentry, but it will be faster if you have carpentry. So like, oh, I can be faster at this specific skill if I read a book or some shit. and it's fun that way. It's fun that way. I don't know. The
I
fun
get
is being able to survive. Yeah, and learning. Yes.
I said like surviving is boring was like other surviving. For example, Minecraft. You start with surviving. Eventually, you become strong enough that existing is surviving. You're no longer surviving. You are now conquering the world, basically.
Essentially, yeah.
So is it kind of like that? Do you
I-
become strong enough that it's as long as you're not doing dumb shit, you won't die?
I think so, yeah. And it's
Okay.
a permadeath, like in the original game.
What
But
is it?
it's a permadeath once you die.
Why am I dead? Okay.
Yeah. It's a permadeath once you die.
Don't you become a zombie if you die?
Oh yeah. You can go back to the place you died and find yourself as a zombie and steal your shit
I'm
back.
pretty sure I saw Let's Game Without play that too, but I forgot about most of it except that one aspect that he made a horde of zombies out of himself.
Yeah, you can do that.
He made like
so
he
fun.
like died 1,000 times.
Yep. And that's like super fun.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the other customizable thing is like people in game have like their clothes. You can steal their clothes. You can steal their clothes. They have a left silver ring. You can get that for your left finger. They have a gold ring. You can get that for your right ring finger. They have long black socks. You can have that. They have short pink socks. You can have that. They have leopard print underwear. You can bet your ass you can get that.
I don't want the underwear that was on a dead corpse's junk.
True. And that brings me to my next segue. You need to clean your clothes. Because if you don't, your character will feel awful. And they will feel dirty. And they can feel depressed as well, by the way. And anxious and angry and panicky. Oh, did I mention you can have mental illness in the game? Fuck yeah,
It was
dude.
basically like life simulator if it was 8-bit or something.
I wasn't
And
kidding, dude. Yeah. go on.
zombie apocalypse.
Yes, I wasn't fucking kidding. You know what the usual handicap that I give for my fucking character is deafness and muteness. Because at the start of the game, you have like character points you can get. So like, do you want your character to be strong? You want your character to be fast? Okay, but you're gonna minus your like skill points, and if you want more points, you have to sacrifice some of the things that you already have. So, or like you get negative traits, so you can have more skill points for other things. So I always choose mute and deaf because listening to the TV has so much burden in a zombie apocalypse. Okay.
It like zombies get attracted to the sound
To the
television.
noise. Yeah, unless I don't have a good enough for it already, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to even have television. So I always have mute and deaf, and then I just read a book.
Question: you got those back eventually? Yes.
No,
Oh.
you
It's
don't.
permanently gone.
It's permanently gone. You're mute and deaf.
Okay.
Oh wait, unless you die, then you can make another character.
And I thought like since you like delete that to get extra skill points, when you earn more skill points, you can buy it back kind of thing.
Nope. Hell nah. Hell to the
But
fuck
I guess it
nah.
would make sense with the way this game is about life simulator.
Yeah, so any trace that you get at the start is permanent until you die. And it's fun when you die.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to
We
start
do
all
not
over
condone
again.
dying.
Yes. Yes, but like for me, I still want to not die because I feel like because I haven't reached that level of like where I'm actually comfortable in Zomboid yet, so I don't want to die just yet when I've invested so much in my character. Oh, by the way, reading an entire book takes hours. It's like reading an actual book in real life. It takes hours. You can AFK. You know one of the usual ways people AFK in Project Zomboid? Reading a book. It
How
takes
long does it take?
6 hours, I think.
One book?
Yeah. It's just like real life.
How much did I give you?
Depends. It can give you like 3 squares, 2 squares, if I remember
What the
correctly.
fuck is a square?
What?
What the fuck is a square? Is that a skill point?
Yeah, the skill thing over there, yeah. Like, oh hey, you
Oh, like
learned
on the
something.
video, Timmy Square. Okay.
Yeah. And it's so
So
fucking fun.
like, what say, 6, 7, 9, 10. Okay, so like 1/3
Yep.
or 1/5 sometimes all
Yeah,
the
and
way
you have to
to.
repeat that for the rest of the skills, crafting skills at least.
Holy shit. Is there other ways to get points other than reading books?
You can listen to the television, but that makes noise. That needs a generator. So
Anything else on
it's
these two
good.
things?
Doing the things. Try to cook.
Oh, okay.
It's literally life simulator, but with zombies.
Because like, if it was just like reading books, then it would be like
no,
6 hours plus 6 hours plus 6 hours. That's like basically let's take one day entirely of
maybe
AFK.
not 6 hours, maybe less than 6 hours, but I knew it was hours.
Okay, but still like, let's say 10 hours for one skill. There's like what, 20 plus skills here from the looks of it.
Yep. That's what
So,
makes
like,
it very investment heavy.
20 days of just AFKing.
Yep.
To able to get your skills.
Yep.
That's why I was like, is there any other way? This gives me
I would love to do this. I wish I was brave enough to do a solo zombie run in Project Zomboid. I don't know what's the end of
Is there
Zomboid.
a mod to make it like not hardcore?
Yeah, I mean to not die. Yeah. What? How do you think game it out?
But
Yeah,
by
okay.
not die, I mean like respawn instead of it being
Yeah, there's
over.
mods. There's mods. That's what I used
Okay.
before.
Would you like to play it solo? Would you like to check it out with me?
Yeah, sure. We can also get car mods and motorcycle mods. I'm gonna get a bike mod. No need for fuel, silent, bike, fast, no need to run, no need to use a lot of stamina. Fuck yeah, dude. Well,
If you do this out, I will be on your nerves for the starting build because I will need to understand everything first, and I will
oh,
probably
I'm
have to
not
make
gonna
it
help you. I'm not gonna help you. We're gonna get the mod that lets us respawn. But I'm not
Okay,
gonna
can we
help
just...
you.
Aww.
I'll
I
try.
was wondering, can we just go to like, we start the world, we keep it as a trial world, we test shit out, we go through the basics, and then we actually start the world that we want to play on.
I mean, sure.
So you don't feel the stress of actually playing and then me figuring shit out. You can first deal with only me figuring shit out, so it will be less stressful
I
because you're not
mean,
actually
that's
trying to
fine.
play
Yeah,
at the
that's
moment.
fine. At least it's a good way for me to also like memorize the map.
Okay.
Because
Also, is Project Zomboid paid?
what? It's a paid game, yeah.
Is it paid?
300 pesos for me, I think.
Price.
The best locations to essentially make a base on is the military base, police station, or near a hospital with groceries nearby. Oh, and you can also do farming. And how do you do farming? You have to learn how to till the soil, you have to water your plants, you wait in-game days to get your harvest. What a wonderful game. Okay, you know what? Let's watch the video so you can actually get the taste for it.
Up into the ceiling.
It's so fun listening to my girlfriend.
No, I want to try.
I love my girlfriend. Okay.
Was a slow
Wait, can you
reader.
just check the
I
price
don't know
first? So I can pay attention to the video when you play.
Go ahead.
Because I have the money to buy it right now if it was on sale.
Check how much is it.
One thing, Steam is being a bitch.
You're a bitch.
I'm sorry.
Lamau, just kidding.
Guys.
Wow.
My bad.
For you.
Oh. A critical Steam component is not working. Fuck you, you sobby little bitch. Why not just work?
Wait, why? What's wrong?
I don't know, something called Steam Web Helper.
Oh no, you're not helping the
Wasn't
web.
working. Project Zomboid. Project Zomboid Survivors?
Just Project Zomboid, but you can check if it's that. It's probably that, if ever.
Nope. This is not Project.
Then just Project Zomboid.
It's not on Steam.
It is on Steam. It's not available in India?
Huh, why the fuck is it so expensive here?
How much is it?
Almost 900.
How much did I pay for this game?
How much did you pay for this game, huh?
Maybe at max 500.
Makes sense then.
You can wait for Christmas time.
It's an early access. It was released in 2013.
Yep. They keep adding shit to the game. And what makes it so beloved is because it always adds stuff, but also like adds it for the community. And it's not just adding stuff just to make a game, but like because like the community kind of wants it. That's why it has a shit ton of stuff. Why do you think making potatoes is such a complicated shit to do? Because you actually have to learn how to farm, you have to get a shovel, and you have to make sure the shovel is not broken. Oh, you have to fix your broken shovel? Too bad. You need to learn how to fix it. You need to learn how to fix in general, so you need to read a book. Always the book. All roads lead to book. Or a magazine.
It's okay, I love you so much. We shall find help soon.
Or a magazine. You can find a magazine if you want. You can read from a magazine. It's much faster than reading a book, but you get less skill points.
Oh, that's
Because-
good then.
Yeah, so... Oh, you get depressed? You need medicine. Depression is a thing in the game. You can have that as an illness. Depression. You can also have PTSD, I think. What does PTSD do? It makes you not be able to swing your weapons, probably, if you have, like, the PTSD shit. It makes you, like, flail around more and trip more if you're anxious. But it's fun. I love it. I love it so much. I think I got, like... Because depression is kind of hard to manage because it kind of makes you, like, out of energy a bit quicker because, you know, you're depressed. So I'm not gonna get that. Being depressed is so hard, guys. It genuinely is. Please don't be depressed. Please get therapy. I pray for you guys. Just wait for Christmas. You can buy it on Christmas. Christmas. You can get it on Christmas. It'll be
Hi.
fine. What?
No offense and nothing personal, but that's the most pick me I've ever sounded.
What? How?
Being depressed is so difficult.
Oh, fuck off, dude.
It's okay, it's not your fault.
Christmas. Christmas.
Should I sell these two deagles?
Your choice. I'm gonna continue the video now while you
Time
fix
passed on
that.
the day, but the carpentry show came on while I was reading. An unfortunate turn of events, but one I'd need to sit with. Still, I was learning carpentry at a very fast rate because of my XP boost. And you could actually read while you're watching TV. Double knowledge. Then, a neighbor. So I let her in. And another one, too. Even more. Springing to action, I dispatched several foes in the house.
Oh yeah, by the way, the better you are at like long blunt or whatever weapon you have, the faster you can kill the zombies. Oh, by the way, just because the zombies fall doesn't mean they're dead yet. They become slightly blurry if they're fully dead. So like when they fall, you have to make sure they're dead so they don't get back up and fuck you over again. So when they fall, you need to stomp on their head. A la Silent Hill style, I think. I forgot which game was it.
What?
Where you have to like, was it Dead Space? Other Dead Space style, where you have to stomp on their faces to confirm that they're dead. That they're dead. Because as long as they have like an outline on their bodies, they're still alive. But if they become slightly blurry, they're dead. And then you can steal shit from them. Actually, no, you can steal shit from them while they're alive. I love theft.
Very quickly. This is actually a very good thing, though. Being unable to leave one house, you want many zombies in your house. But now it was time to close the curtains. Something I should have done when I started.
Oh my god, by the way, the cars, if you're not a burglar and you don't know how to hotwire a car, which is essentially wiring the shit so the engine can start without a key, you need to find the key either in the car's like cabinet thingy, or on a nearby zombie, or in a nearby house. I love the depth that this game goes to. I love it.
How do you but my brain deleted it? I need you to go again.
If you want to like actually power a car, if like Grand Theft Auto style, you need to steal the key from a nearby zombie, from a nearby house, or in the car itself. So you might have to break a window and you have to fucking fix it again, and you have to be a mechanic, but you need to learn how to be a mechanic, and to be a mechanic you have to learn how to fix. So you need to learn how to fix, you need to read a book. All roads lead the book. But yes, yeah, you need to know how to hotwire shit, or you need to know how to pick lock. Or you can steal the key and then you find the car, whichever is made for that.
Oh, you can shatter.
But you need to hotwire so the engine can start. Oh yeah, by the way, you need to
Oh.
fucking replace the shit in the car. Is the engine's fucked up, or need to replace that, or need to fix that? Is the tires fucked? Need to replace that or fix that? Is the fucking accelerator, the radiator fucked? Oh, you need to fix that. Is the fucking windows broken? You need to fix that, or else the zombies can yeet over and eat you while you're in the car. I love the in-depthness of this game.
I see.
So literally just pretend it's real life and it'll work out
And
for
so
you.
I did, and allowed in the new guests, closed the windows, and I set off about moving the curtains from the upstairs.
Oh, by the way, if you don't close the curtains, they will see you. So, and they will break in. So you have to get
to
out.
the downstairs. Some things are unavoidable, but I could add sheets to the windows of the rooms I was occupying, sealed and shut off. With the assault over, I rested, and I found a watch on one of the zombies to know what time it was. One of them
You can't get a watch to know what time it was. It's so fucking good.
carried a walkie-talkie on it as well. This might be useful. July 9th, 2:30 p.m., and still plenty of time before the next carpentry show. It's also fine that I was
The temperature also means a lot. Your clothing means a lot in regards of temperature. If you are wearing a bikini, you're gonna get colder when you're fucking outside. But if you wear too much fucking sweaters and sweatpants when you're inside and you have double the shit, you're gonna get really, really, really fucking hot. And it's gonna make you really, really, really bothered.
I just imagine this guy in a bikini.
Hell yeah, dude.
losing weight. I picked obese intentionally to save myself more time.
Oh my god. I'm just... One of the tactics of this game is you can choose to be obese at the start so you don't have to find food right away.
Is that a buff or not?
It depends on how you look at it. Mostly a buff. That's why people choose it, so they have more time in the start.
I mean, what does the game look at it as? Does the game look at it as a buff or a nerf?
It's just a trait, I think. Well, it's a nerf. Being anorexic is a nerf. Being obese is a nerf. It's still like an illness in regards. Yeah. So, take with that what you will.
And so I passed the rest of the afternoon, raising my XP multiplier
then.
on carpentry by reading the book. A fishing show came on. Not that it was much use to me, but I did gain a skill point in that. I read all the way to 10 p.m. and then I decided to move around. It was enough sitting and reading for one day. Then I decided to take all the pots and pans out of the kitchen. Bowls, anything in a container. The foods would stay good for a while, but I needed all the water I could get. So I filled everything up. Bottles, saucepans, cooking pots, kettles, mugs, bowls. It was all clean water to me. Bloodied from the fight, I also decided to use what I could of the washing machine on my jeans, as well as my shirt. Disrobed, I turned on the washing machine. This might draw attention. The other houses had been broken into, but noise transportation does pretty well between walls. So I just turned off the light, along with the other lights in the house. I washed before bed at the toilet, but I was wrong. Night visitors. This meant a fight in the nude in the dark.
It's actually important to have clothing because if they manage to get a hit on you or a bite, you're gonna bleed out and you're gonna lose HP. And if you have clothing, you could get that off. Like you could, deter some of that. That's why my favorite clothing in the game is a fireman fucking uniform. It's durable, okay? It's durable as shit. It's hot as shit, but that's fine. I can just walk out I can just walk out of the house and be instantly cold during the night. Because it's fun.
Not fun, but at least my clothes were clean, if soaking wet. This was worthwhile. At around 12 a.m., the next cooking show came on, and the next zombie entered the window. For fear of missing out on any more educational programming, I decided not to sleep, but rather sit down and read. Read for many hours in front of the light of a TV. Listening for zombies all the while that might try to break some of my windows. At least it was helping my carpentry multiplier, because my reading was slow. Since I'd designed my character to be so brolic, it didn't actually matter that I was extremely hungry and reduced in strength, but rather, I subsisted on knowledge. And then I heard it.
Question, can you pause your eating?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if a zombie is right in front of you, you kind of need to oh my fucking god, stop reading, and then you do the animation for closing a book and then standing up and then fight the zombie.
Okay. Because I thought once you started reading, you need to wait for all the hours.
No! You have free will in this game, you're fine!
Okay, I thought this was like Clash of Clans, you train, you have to... you upgrade a building or something, it goes on for 2 days straight, no control.
Oh, you're fine. That's okay.
Okay. Also, why the fuck is your face static?
It's a mask.
Right next to me, and another.
Okay.
Two had come
yes,
through.
the mask.
This
Why
was
was it
bad.
static for a second?
Because it's supposed to be metal, but it has the light thing.
This was not
See?
great.
Scratched and bleeding.
Food in there, waiting for foes to strike and eat me. By around 5:40 a.m., I completed the carpentry book. With all that done, my carpentry multiplier stood at a whopping 8, along with a 125% XP boost. The next time I caught the carpentry show, I would level up. This is important. Carpentry would eventually pave my way to sustenance. With that time-sensitive piece done, I could relax a little bit. I watched the cooking show, learning, and all the while improving. The next task was a little unintuitive, using a crowbar in the closet. I started disassembling and picking up the birchwood floors off the...
You can disassemble the houses if you want to, by the way. Also, if you accidentally left a fire stove open and there's just having to be something flammable nearby, you can burn a house. Yes.
If I got lucky, I might destroy some of them and yield planks. But unfortunately, when you're good at carpentry, there's a great tendency to not break.
I fucking love it for it.
The only downside of having so much skill. The whole dining room yielded nothing to me. Still, I didn't need the furniture for anything, but with the TV programming off, if I wanted much more skill, I'd have to start disassembling furniture. I'd start with stuff that was useless. The floors yielded floorboards, and I could disassemble the chairs. So with my XP boost, every chair yielded about 80 experience, along with necessary nails. Chairs are almost completely useless in Project Zomboid, so this was fine. 4 chairs and a table took me nearly to level 5. Unfortunately, I had wasted some of the wood, but I had plenty of nails to practice with. Next, it was time to disassemble the couches. These also didn't matter, and although they're a nice prop, they just aren't useful for survival. The couch and the chairs together, these yielded enough experience for carpentry level 5. Now just another 3,000 away from carpentry level 6. With level 6, I'd be able to build stairs. This was pretty important. More furniture disassembly, the fancy low table, the bookshelf, the upstairs chair, the other upstairs chairs, with frequent stops back at the TV. Now 863 carpentry experience. This was an absolutely stupid amount of carpentry experience. Being an expert at the beginning, And watching TV, the 8 times experience is just fantastic. With carpentry level 6 reached, my next goal of survival was evident. I gathered planks and nails up, and disassembling everything else.
That bars is good.
And the other remaining bookshelves,
having
along
severe
with some of the
deja vu. Have you
countertop in the
watched
bathroom. I finally had the necessary planks
Might have,
for the
yeah.
stairway. This may seem like a weird play
Us
to
together?
stairway, but I can assure you
I
that it's
think so, yeah.
absolutely necessary. If we're to stay within the confines of the house, that means we need to build up. I built flooring just above the entryway. From here, I could at least get a better look at what the neighborhood was like around me, and even call out to zombies if I need.
Oh yeah, a vision is a thing in the game as well. Kinda like... If it's dark outside, you can't see shit outside. But if you look a certain direction, you can see. You can also choose to be like blind, as in like you can only see a few meters in front of you, by the way.
And nearsighted?
Yeah,
Okay.
nearsighted. So fucking fun, dude. And like the zombies can actually appear behind you and you wouldn't be able to see them. Even if you are in a top-down perspective, you won't be able to see the zombie unless you actually turn around. So fucking fun.
Needed to attract them. There weren't many nearby, but it was enough if I needed them for some resources. Time to head back downstairs. Time is still of the essence here. In many starter homes, you might find cabbage seeds. These are absolutely necessary. In fact, I made sure of it in my starter house. If you don't spawn with these things, you need to restart. Otherwise, you can't live in the starter house. You also need a bag of dirt. This may seem a bit excessive, but if you do manage to find it, you
Can I survive in a single house in Project Zomboid?
can dig a furrow. With my work completed, I was able to open up the package of cabbage seeds and sow cabbages into the roof. It's completely safe to do
Into
this
the
at this
roof.
time of year. I then watered them with what remained in my water bottle, along with what was in the cooking pot and the saucepan. That was enough to make them well watered. But now, more invaders. I fought them without leaving the house. Now this was getting to be a lot of dead bodies throughout the house. I disassembled more counters, the rest of the chairs and the tables, which are also useless, and I went back downstairs to watch the farming show. The farming show really isn't that important, but you might as well do it. It's
Can you
free.
get rid of the bodies?
I think they decompose. You'll find maggots on them, by the way. I wanted to
like,
tell you
clean it
that.
up?
Nope, I don't think so.
Ah.
Also, the only
Okay.
thing that's kind of like weird, I mean, it could have been like recorded tapes and shit, but at the same time, why do you still have shows running? Why is the broadcast channel still running in a post-apocalyptic world? Fun shit.
Experience. Knowledge. Since I didn't
Knowledge.
start any fires in the house,
I'm
I'd
gonna
start
guess
them over the house.
Tapes.
Heat
I mean, yeah, you have tapes, but like, I don't know if the tapes. Oh, I don't know, cause I don't. If
You know,
there's
like
a
how,
schedule, if there's a schedule, that's gonna be the live broadcasting. But there are tapes in the game. I don't know if these are tapes or these are scheduled programs.
You know, like, before, like, when we used to have, like, CRT TVs, CRT monitor TVs, and, like, we had, I mean, we both probably don't remember that. I mean, you might, I don't. There
I'm
used to
calling
be...
it old. Which I am, so
No,
go on.
I'm saying I am underprivileged.
Shut up,
I
go
was
on.
underprivileged of growing up as a child. We didn't have the privilege of cassette players. But yes, cassette player, put cassette in it,
I mean,
play.
yeah, but like,
I may record.
I don't
Isn't that
know.
what people used to do for like shows when they like missed the timing because of like work or something? They just had family or they had it set to auto record and
Yeah.
then came home and watched it.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is a live broadcast because of the way he's saying about it. It seems like it's a live broadcast.
Maybe it's live broadcast.
And
Maybe
that's
there's a
gonna
part
be
of the world is zombified.
fair. I mean, mostly of what we see, it's just in America.
rises. It's fine, don't question it. One campfire kit,
Stretch
done. I built
with me.
floors out to the other side of the house, disassembled more counters, and built my way over to the other end of the house. I still think this is fine. I'm on top of the house plot. Technically,
I'm on top
I never
of the
left
world.
the house. Don't question it. I built a fire at the edge of the roof. Now I would use what was left of the zombies. I could fuel the fire for as long as I needed, as long as I had their clothes. 15 minutes worth of fuel. Scrap wood also made for decent fire fuel, but in theory,
Is he gonna make
you
a
have an
tower?
unlimited amount of clothing just from the zombies around you. You can even use your books that you've already finished up. Advanced carpentry I didn't need anymore. It was better fire fuel. With just a little bit of work, I had over 7 hours worth of fuel. Now a fire, a garden, albeit a modest one. I'd continue building as I went. Now I could start rationing the food around me. And I was already losing weight, so I might as well attempt to lose a little more and just cook and preserve whatever was left. What had started as a bleak outlook from the beginning had already developed into something with great unexpected longevity. Just as a resilient plant can cling to the little soil in the crack of a mountain pass and eke out a simple existence for itself, so too had I fabricated a foundation founded on resourcefulness, and only 48 hours into my journey had managed to secure all the necessary resources to sustain life. I love wringing out all the resources I possibly can from a small patch of land by spreading out my roots and gripping to whatever is there. What had I accomplished in 2 days? Countless skill points earned that otherwise would have taken me ages to farm in any other method of experience acquisition. Shelter, the securing of a bed, and the building of a campfire for heat and rest. Securing a renewable food source that otherwise would help me overcome my limitations from starting out as an obese character and set me off into the world at an even greater advantage. Stronger, lean, and prepared to confront any adversary. For me, this is the joy of learning such a challenge, and it's what I take out with me into the rest of the game. New knowledge, resourcefulness, and learning. And this is what makes it all worth it in the end. Otherwise, it's just a futile exercise.
So
but I still haven't answered my initial question. How long can you survive in a single home? Day 3 began.
Nothing.
I had arrived at the 3rd day.
All artists have back.
Now I began eating the food.
Backs.
On the one hand, it's healthy to lose weight, and on the other hand, hunger pangs are a killer. I'd have to eat low-caloric foods. Leeks, produce, anything green, and I started rationing out the remaining dirt I had.
Don't you? Oh my fucking god! Even the type of food is affecting you.
Spacing them out from midnight. Now I began eating the food. On the one hand, it's healthy to lose weight, and on the other hand, hunger pangs are a killer. I'd have to eat low-caloric foods. Leeks, produce, anything green, and I started rationing out the remaining dirt I had for cabbages, spacing them out every other square accordingly, and digging furrows for my cabbages. I found that I was able to plant only 4 cabbages. I still had seeds enough for another plant, but I lacked the dirt to use for it. I also found enough sheets to cover the rest of the house windows, something I neglected before.
How did he get dirt without stepping out?
I think he did get dirt. Like at the house. Because the plot of land, at least, you can have at least. I think you can walk around the plot of land around the house at least.
Adding these throughout the rest of the house, I could conceal my movements, and even a sheet for the front door. And then something new appeared, a police zombie. This is my only way of attracting more. Did he have a gun on him? Only one way to find out. I called out the window, and I dispatched him. A holster, but no gun. It was something. Now a jacket, as well as a bulletproof vest. It was a start, all right. I gathered more wood and dug the last furrow. I also took some dirt from the patch of ground right next to the house. Technically, I was still in the house, right? I also found that
oh yeah, he can't get out.
Day 4 had already begun. Again, I slept. I awoke to a thick fog and a banging on the door. With my bad and poor repair, I decided to make it into a spiked baseball bat. It would add to the lifespan of the weapon. In fact, no, but it looked cooler. What I did find in my inventory was curious. Worms. Strangely, you can still take dirt from through a window in the houses in Zomboid, and even through a wall. This is where I begin to be very, very confused. I successfully disassembled the wardrobe and gained 10 planks and 4 nails for it. This was a major win. It meant I had enough to construct additional rooftop, and thus more room for farms. And so using the dirt that I obtained through the wall, I began digging furrows, all the while obtaining more worms from the ground. This was a veritable greenhouse, and I had room for yet more cabbages. I might have, in fact, too many cabbages, and I'm still in the house technically. Why shouldn't I get a lot of dirt? You can see how this is playing out. I'm not about to tell you that this is a good lifestyle, but I truly think you could sustain an indefinite lifestyle in Project Zomboid living in a single house, given the right items. Maybe I could have used a garbage bag for rain collector barrels. But let's see how the rest of this plays out, shall we? I decided to organize the house. It was a bit of a mess. I didn't have much time to read books because I was too busy setting up my farm. You could probably max out your carpentry in the first week if you really played your cards right. Now I had enough for a notched wooden plank as well as a sturdy stick. I could light the fire, burn the bodies, and finish cleaning up the house. Enough for 13 hours and 43 minutes. I gathered the bodies and I added new ones to the fire.
The days aren't
new
like
useful items for more armor,
accurate
anything else
to
I
real
would
life.
need. And then there came the
I think 10 minutes an hour, I think.
more if I was to survive in the long term. That night I gathered those bodies in the rain and burned them in a funeral pyre to the old world, a fertilizer to the new, a simple existence, but it bespoke all I've learned, all I've done to grow since I began. Now this would provide heat and some sustenance, and the burned bodies more fuel for the fires. As I heard a knocking on the door, I grew confident, so putting out the fire, could anything stop me? In fact, yes. Overconfidence is an insidious killer, and I had neglected to see just how much exhaustion I had accumulated over the time.
Oh no, he got bitten.
But that's what keeps me coming back. If it were fair, if it were easy, it would just be a game. No, Zomboid is a true roguelike. Every time you die, you get nothing, like in real life, which is what makes it a simulation, microcosmic of our lives. When things don't go well, that's just too bad. But you can always use your experience to try again. In real life, it's usually not life or death, but it's always given me the satisfaction of a job well done. When I make it just one more day. Yes, I probably could have survived a number of weeks, but what about when the water gave out? What about when the rains slowed? So till that day, we'll just keep stretching out our arms and reaching farther than we did yesterday. I'm Ambiguous Amphibian, and this has been my house survival challenge. I hope you enjoyed. As always, a major thanks to my patrons.
He got to subscribe for this?
In which I reside, and I fertilize them, and I water them.
Mostly is annoyed because I ate it going way faster than the left side.
Until we meet again next time.
Fun. Fun shit. To be honest, I don't think I can finish this tonight. But I did finish the mask at least. Well, it's not fully finished yet, but you know. It's pretty neat.
It does have the same amount of like uncanniness as the Mask from the Essence.
Thank you so much.
And I mean that genuinely.
I do like it.
I'm not saying it to make you happy. It's like there's generally that vibe to it, like dead inside, I guess, is the vibe in a way.
I fucking love it. Thank you. I love that. I'm gonna probably fix this more tomorrow. But for now, I think I'm gonna honk.
Me.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm gonna do my end screen for now. Okay. Thank you everybody so much for coming by. My back hurts. It's nice to yap and shit again. I'm probably gonna upload this as a whip. But I love it so far. I love how it looks so far. Hopefully this would turn out because I really like how the mask is. So hopefully it's gonna look good. I'm so excited because this is actually one of the more intriguing ones that I've seen. Intriguing art trends that I've seen. It's so fucking cool. Alright. With that, thank everybody so much for coming by. If you guys mean a lot. For now, I will be taking a sleep? Question mark? Sure? Not too sure. But yes.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone!